But I did a movie with the dude, and he was on some other whatever, and we got into it. Then he ran up and caught me, and then he slammed my head down on the car, and one of them times he got a little excited, and he, instead of him slamming me down once, he slammed me down twice. And I wasn't ready for it because I had my hands behind my head, and he pushed my face into the hood of a car. Wow. Boom! And so we had words, and I told him, I'm gonna fuck you up, man. And then he was like, I don't feel pain, and we went through this whole thing. And I see you around back when I was down.
What's up, world? It's your boy Big Court of the Holdin Court podcast. We here for another one. What's going on, team? What's going on, daughter?
Try not to get blown away.
Oh, yeah? Are you fanning out today?
I am.
Okay.
I know. I just put my sister on some movies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. What up with your producer, Ken?
Hey, I'm on the same thing, man. It's always nice when you got a legend in here. You know what I mean? Someone to talk to.
I just want to point something out real quick to the people. I know y'all been watching all our videos.
He gonna roast
you know
me.
what I'm saying?
I usually shave it.
Y'all see, because they be on your ass in the comments anyway.
I know.
Anyway, so you see Ken didn't give a shit. He walked in here. He trying to see what's cracking with his hair.
Hey, I'm here to produce. That's
he trying to see what's cracking. He's letting the hair grow in. You know what I mean? We never seen him with it.
Don't be mad at him, man.
Hey.
Don't be mad at him. Listen to my boy. OG Bobby Johnson just said, "Don't be mad."
I got it. Let me give him the proper introduction, man. We do have a legend. We have man, what really I wouldn't even say arguably, but he is definitely the what they refer to known as the essential black character actor. OG, how many titles? Yeah, he looks shocked. The essential character black actor.
Yeah, he just gave you that title.
I got some.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How many titles? I couldn't even. You've been in over what? Maybe
100 and you just mean titles like
TV
projects?
185 films, and many of them cultural legends and staples in the culture. Man,
I was just watching this weekend. Was that you in Speed?
Yeah.
Speed 2.
No, the first wasn't.
No, it was Speed 2, I think.
Speed 1 and 2.
Oh, 1 and 2.
But in the first one, it was the Jaguar.
Second one, I was in the boat.
Yeah. Totally unrelated. I was just watching that this weekend.
Wow.
And then when you had sent me the list, I said, "Oh, was that him?"
So we got the OG, Glenn Plummer. What's going on with you, bro?
Oh, nothing, man. I'm just,
I appreciate you making it, brother.
Amazed and excited about being here.
Yeah.
I normally don't do podcasts, man.
I know you don't.
You called me.
I know you don't.
You called me.
Yeah.
You called me at a time in my life where I guess it's okay, man. I feel like, I don't, like I said, I don't normally do this, but I just come to sit down and talk to y'all and see what y'all talking about.
Appreciate it.
Man.
But you got to come get your flowers. That's what we do. We celebrate folks on this platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So we definitely wanted to do that because, do you get offended or annoyed when people call you OG Bobby Johnson?
Never.
Good. That's cool.
Never.
That's what's up.
It never offends me. Never. People ask me that all the time, and it's like, nope.
Yeah.
Because
it's a testament to how well you delivered that character to where people in real life refer to you as that.
And regardless of what the box office and things like that say, I know it did what it was supposed to do because we did that movie for a reason. And when 12-year-old kids walk up to me and call me OG Bobby Johnson, I'm like, okay, that worked.
Exactly.
That worked.
Exactly.
It did what it was supposed to do.
Hey, that was a legendary movie for us.
For sure. For sure.
Growing up in Sacramento.
Yeah.
I'm from Richmond. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
916 in the house.
Yes, right.
So I wanted to peel that back for a second too. So kind of starting just briefly. So you're from Richmond, California.
Yes, sir.
That's is that considered the Bay or
Yep.
outside the Bay?
Absolutely.
The filthy.
Absolutely the Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it like
the
growing up
filthy
in
rich, huh?
in the Rich? What was it like growing up in Richmond?
You want it from a little kid, adolescent, like 14.
Yeah, let's start there because
started.
that's normally when you start smelling your piss. So 14.
Yeah,
That's the way to put
but
it.
you know what? Growing up in Richmond, man,
Say that
no.
one
See,
time.
because that's the Bay Area. Then you from Berkeley, and then it's a whole different atmosphere. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people from where I'm from started smelling their piss around 10, 9, 8 for me.
Damn,
You
it
know
was
what
early
I mean?
because I started
Yeah.
about 12, 13.
It was early on for us, man. We got around.
Mm-hmm.
Living that close to Berkeley.
Yeah.
It happens like that.
How did you avoid the pitfalls of what Richmond had to offer in the streets?
Who said I avoided them?
I mean, you didn't go to prison.
I didn't get caught.
Okay. That's my story too.
Well,
well, yeah, kind of.
I ain't gonna say I avoided them. I just didn't get caught. No, you know how I avoided them, man? Back when we was doing wrong, bad, when we was wilding out, it was a different day. It was a different time. Plenty of times I've been, taken out of somebody's backyard, from being in somebody's house I wasn't supposed to be in, or just climbing in somebody's tree we wasn't supposed to be climbing in, and then some other little things we did, and I can't believe we got away with. Like one time we stole all these things out of this car lot. We went to this car lot and took all these tires, something. Anyway, I ain't admitting to nothing.
Allegedly,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we got caught, but see, I didn't get caught. I was somewhere else, and then somebody came in and pointed me out.
Oh, wow.
Because I got away.
Yeah.
And so we ended up in the back of the police car, and they took us home.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say it was a different time, that's what I mean.
Right.
We never got taken to the police station. We
Mm.
always got taken home.
So it was more community policing.
Dude, not even, like, they didn't have to know you.
Yeah.
You could be anywhere. Like half our, we grew up in the projects like that. And then on the other side of town, there was some white folks over there and some Mexicans over, Chinese people. And wherever you got caught, the police just took you home. One time I ran into a problem. And it was a situation that I couldn't do nothing about because I started taking this photography class. And it was at like 7 o'clock in the morning before school started. And I was going to Pinole Valley High School, which was like 20 minutes outside of town from where I lived. And my friend, I think his name was Clifford. His sister's name was Tracy. They were a little more, their family was a little more affluent than ours. So he gave me a 35 millimeter camera. He didn't give it to me, he let me use it. So coming from where I was coming from, I'm walking up the street at 6 o'clock in the morning trying to make it to school by 7. And I got this like, $300, $400, $500 camera hanging around my neck. And the police saw me, right? And actually, that's not even why he stopped me. He stopped me because I picked the newspaper up off the ground. And, I was on my way to school. I just picked it up off the sidewalk.
Was that
and
illegal?
I was walking with it. Right. It was illegal.
Was that illegal to do, to pick up a random newspaper?
Yes, it was.
Really?
I wasn't thinking about it. It was somebody's newspaper.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Okay.
And it was a major street, McDonald Avenue, but there was houses on one side of it. I wasn't thinking. I just picked it up, and I was getting ready to start reading it, and he pulled me over. He pulled over and was like, "Hey, that's theft of private property or something," he said to me. I was like, "What?" He's like, "The newspaper." I was like, "Oh, I'll put it back." And he was like, "No, you won't." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "No, you won't. You picked that up. You stealing." I was like, "Man, I'll just put it back."
Yeah. And
And then he was like, "Nah, I mean, if I remember it clearly, that's why he stopped me." But then he asked me whose camera I had around my neck. Because obviously, some about I couldn't afford it. And then another police officer showed up, and then I ended up in juvie, like
wow,
immediately, like it was weird.
Over a random newspaper.
Newspaper. I couldn't afford the camera. They
Mhm.
took it off my neck. They thought I had stole it, and they ran me in, and then they just took me to juvenile hall in Martinez, and I'll never forget it. It was the one time I was really happy to see my dad. You know what I mean? Like seriously happy to see my dad, because I was sitting in a cafeteria in juvenile hall in Martinez, California, and all I heard was this ruckus, just doors banging and boom, boom, where you at? Where you at? Bam, doors crashing open. And, we sitting there looking and everybody looking, and then doors kicked open and my pops walked into the cafeteria. Glenn, I looked up, let's go. Just came in there and got me. I looked around like, woo, I know y'all wish y'all had one of these.
So you grew up with your dad?
Kind of, sort of. Kind of, sort of. Not. He came back. I think I was 13. I see, because, damn. Okay, I'm finna age myself, and this is me. And don't take this the wrong way, but growing up where I grew up, and my mom was on welfare for the, first 10, 11, 12 years of my life. Like I said, we lived in the projects. And it wasn't always copacetic for the man to be around the house. When the social worker came around, we had to hide the iron, we had to hide the toaster.
So that shit in Claudine was real.
Dude, it's real, bro. And people can say whatever they want to say, because people always talk about, black families, whatever, divorce rate, whatever, music and welfare tore the black family apart in our generation. I'm telling you that because I grew up there. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Music, welfare, tore it apart. Women, if the man was around, if the mother wanted to go to school, couldn't get no more welfare. She got a little job, they wouldn't give her no welfare.
Yeah.
And, you know, couldn't make enough money. She had 3 kids. My mom had 3 children. Cleaning people's houses. I used to go with her. One of the children was mentally challenged. To this day, I still love mustard on my sandwiches because when I went over there, my mom wouldn't let me put anything else on my sandwiches because the little girl liked mustard. And if I put anything else on my sandwich besides mustard, you know, if I put mayonnaise or, you know, the little girl would have a problem with it. Her name was Kimmy. I'll never forget that. So to this day, right now, 62 years old, if I get a hot dog, BLT, any kind of sandwich, just mustard.
And
did your dad
go ahead.
Did your dad aside from the welfare and everything, did you feel like your dad wanted to be a part of your life and that your mother wanted him?
You know what? As any family, you know, we had our problems, whatever, and he was around as much as he could, you know, seasonal work, construction work, or that type of thing, you know. So yeah, it was off and on, but he wasn't around enough for me to really say he was there. He was there, but he wasn't there. And part of the reason why I made that movie South Central, that same little aspect, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew the reason why things happened to me that happened to me. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I used to run off all the time, and if my dad was around, but if it was just me and my mom, I met my mom one time. My mom sat me down, 12 years old. She said, you know, I have to have this talk with you because I can't take you running off. You have to understand something. When you run off, I can't sleep. I can't breathe.
You hurt hard. You out in the world.
No, that's
I was the youngest of 3 kids. I'm worried about you. So if you bend in corners, you have to let me know. And this is a true story. From that point on, 12 years old, everything I love. If I turned the corner, I'd let my mom know. Because we came to an agreement. But before that, Sunday, I would leave at 6 o'clock in the morning before everybody woke up and wouldn't come home till 12, 10. I was 8, 9.
So you wasn't paying attention to the street lights coming on.
You know what? And the crazy part is, man, coming home at that time, I would walk down the middle of the street because I didn't want to walk on the sidewalk because somebody could be hiding in between the cars. So I would walk down the middle of the street, scared as hell. Still running off though. Knew I was gonna get my ass kicked when I got home, but I still ran off. I had to move.
That's funny that you say that with the dad being in there because my situation was similar. You know, when I was 15, I went to jail as a juvenile. Matter of fact, your mother was pregnant with you. And so I went to jail. And I remember my dad, I didn't really grow up with my dad. And I remember him getting me a lawyer.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm thinking in my head, damn, he came through for me.
Right.
You know, like that's crazy.
Right.
But as I got older, I said, well, damn, maybe if he had been around, he wouldn't have had to get that lawyer, you know, because, you know, I was the only child with a single mom.
Wow.
And my mother told me prior to me catching that case that I was going to catch that case. But you know, I'm thinking I'm grown, I'm smelling my piss, you know. So as I got older, it really resonated to me how important it was to have that male figure, you know. Even though our moms do some of them do they do well. You know, my mother did good, but still it's something about having that dad there, that male figure that you know that's gonna get in your
I think it's just having a parent in the house. If you have a single mom, if she has to work, that's 8 hours out the day, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not gonna see her.
But even if you still have a dad, though, it's that male presence. You know what I mean? Because I was afraid of my mom, but probably not like I would have been a male with that energy. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to come home and know, okay, my mama gonna cuss me out. She gonna scream and holler, but it's still that feminine energy. But if I know I gotta come home and face some pressure, you know, I might make a different decision.
Men regulate.
I can't say that, bro.
Yeah.
My mom was pressure, homie.
Yeah.
Pressure. Like, I'll just give you an example. One time, my sister thought she was gonna talk back to my mama, and to this day, this is one of the funniest things in our neighborhood. My mom waited till Saturday. I guess she didn't have to go to work that day. My mom kicked her ass 6 times that day.
Wow.
Every time she thought about what my sister did, she kicked her ass.
It's like, what's that shit you said?
Well, every time she thought about it, she got up and beat her ass. Like, and I mean, seriously, like my brother thought he was going to do something one day, and my mom gave him a couple.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
no, I'm talking about gave him a couple.
Oh, I got that. My mom did me the same way, too.
You know what I mean? And my sister got a couple up against the refrigerator one time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like tripping on it because I was thinking, you know, but this was after welfare because she went to nursing school.
Yeah.
Then they had on the J ward. She worked on the psych ward. And what we didn't know was when you work on the psych ward, they teach you self-defense.
Okay.
So my mom was
she came home to practice that
shit.
She came home to practice that shit.
Nah, I just tripped because she knew how to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like boom, and she knew how to like. It was weird. I watched it happen. I was like, oh, wow, mom got hands. Like it was weird.
Man, my mama was the same way, bro. She gave it to me one time, bro, and I needed it. I was getting some height on me and smelling my piss. I'm about 13, 14. She said something to me about some damn dishes or something, right? So I cut my eyes at her. All I remember was all the air leaving my body. I didn't even see it coming. She hooked around me, hit me right in the sternum.
Wow.
And so I go down, gasping for air. So not only did she still on me, but then she stood over me and said, "Don't you ever cut your motherfucking eyes at me. Now get up and act like you want to do something."
Wow.
She told me, "Now get up and act like you want to do something."
Get up and look
and
at
I'm
me
sitting there like,
hold
like,
on.
give me CPR or something. Like, what the hell? I never, and my daughter's a testament to this. You never heard me curse around my mother, raise my voice, nothing, because I always had a healthy fear of
play
my
music,
mother.
rap music, none of that.
We did that. We had a healthy respect for our parents.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't think my mother heard me curse until I was like 28, 29,
Right.
30 years old, something like that.
Right.
She never, you know what we did, man. I can't sit up here and say I was like a thug or nothing like that, man. But growing up where I grew up, bro, you had to.
Yeah.
You know what? You had to own.
That's right.
And you had to, you had to walk around and you had to have your hat tilted a certain way. You know what I mean? And,
so in the Rich and in the Bay, y'all didn't have gangs like in terms of Crips and Bloods like Southern California. So was it turf wars? Was it block?
So
like
we had gangs, but it wasn't Crips and Bloods. It was, I think, because I'm trying to remember growing up as kids, there weren't any gangs. But by the time we were 14 or 15 or something like that, I think maybe 12, it came, it came around. Like, because there was always, because you had the Black Panthers, you had, that type of atmosphere around you. So everybody wanted to be part of something. And I remember North Richmond, where my grandfather had a junkyard and my auntie had a junkyard, and I think 2 of my aunties had junkyards. And so I used to go to North Richmond all the time, but then we lived in Easter Hill, but then my auntie lived on the south side. So, I was everywhere. You know what I mean? Like if I had to go stay with my grandfather, or if I went over my grandfather's house, I had to worry about these boys called the PPHs. Pimp Player Hustlers.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because and where we grew up, everybody, nigga, this pimping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the Bay.
Yeah.
In the Bay.
I ain't turned down nothing but my collar, nigga. This pimping. You be holding a receipt, getting ready to get on the bus, but you had to hold it a certain way. You feel me? Like, nigga,
that's
this
right.
transfer.
That's
nigga,
right.
Nigga, what? This pimping. No, seriously, man. I'm not playing.
Oh, my God.
But it was, so anyway, Pimp Player Hustlers. And then there was Hard Times, which my next door neighbor ended up being a member of Hard Times. So, they was my people I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? This family I grew up with, my boy Tony, he's still alive. His brothers are dead, Michael and Maurice. God bless their souls. But yeah, it wasn't quite games.
You know
man.
what? Let me ask you, OG, where did the whole Richmond, Oakland divide and beef start? Where did was that in your day that started
was
from?
I think that's just anywhere, in any city, in any town. Like when I was growing up, we didn't really have a beef with them. We used to have community football games against Oakland, and I don't know who set them up. You know what I'm saying? But we just knew, football game at Kennedy High School Saturday, Richmond playing Oakland.
Yeah.
And and you would just go. And I don't even remember who set the games up, but it'd be a bunch of Oakland dudes on that side and a bunch of Richmond dudes on this side. And we would play football. And I don't ever remember anybody getting killed or nothing like that. You know, somebody always would get in a fight, maybe pull out a gun, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But nobody ever shot anybody.
So what did a young Glenn Plummer, what did you want to be when you was young? What did you aspire to be? Or was it always did you always have dreams of going into the arts, or did you want to be a policeman?
No, my mother, well, I was going to be a doctor, actually, to be honest with you. I went to pre-med school at Diablo Valley College and Contra Costa College. I was on my way to San Francisco State, but ended up dropping out and becoming an actor. You know, I was pretty smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I had a, you know, growing
How'd
up.
you get the acting bug, though? Where did that come from?
I took an acting class.
Okay.
I took an acting class. My boy Gary Wayne Banks. What's up, fool? If you see this, we were at DVC, Diablo Valley College. We left our little hometown and went east, you know, where the white folks were, because we wanted to go to school. We didn't want to be at Contra Costa where all our homeboys were. You know what I mean? It's like, let's go to DVC, man. Let's go out there and go. So we went and took, you know, pre-med classes out there, and then we ended up taking an acting class together. Never forget it. We had one improv, and the dialogue was something like, "Wow, fancy meeting you up here." No, oh, you made it, huh? Or something like that. Or fancy meeting you up here. And it was me and him, and we crawled over a table and act like we made it up to the top of this mountain. And man, we did that. And I swear to you, from that day, I knew it was something that I was going to be doing. Like I knew, I was like, I'm doing this.
Is that what made you drop out of medical?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what kind of what touched you with that? Like what kind of how did it make you feel? Did it make you feel free, or what made you really lean into it?
I always liked to roam. You couldn't hold me down. Right?
Okay.
And I think the reason I wanted to roam around so much is because I just always wanted to be free to be who I am. I used to do crazy shit. Like I would go to Berkeley and pretend I was Jamaican.
Why?
I don't know.
Just cause. For fun.
Just cause. Like I would leave my hometown. You know.
Did you know any Jamaicans?
I you know, I ran into a couple up at Berkeley Square. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know, not really. I don't even think I had a proper Jamaican accent.
That's what I was about to say. How did you execute the accent?
Okay, so watch this. So I had a buddy named Fafa, right? He was from Haiti.
Was there like a hustle to it, or was there a goal?
No, it wasn't.
You just was pretending.
He was from Haiti, and we used to run around, and we would go out, and we would, you know, just be out after school, because I was at DVC, and he lived out in Walnut Creek, so me and him would go hang. And we would go to clubs, and you know, and he spoke what are Haitians, that French,
like patois,
French, English, whatever they speak. So he spoke that. I didn't, and he would talk to me, and I would pretend like I was talking back. And then we would meet people, and I would look at him. They'd be speaking English, and I'd be like looking at him, like translate.
Yeah,
and he would translate. And we would and I don't even know why I did it. We just did it, man.
Yeah,
I remember I got a girlfriend like that, and then I finally had to tell her I spoke English.
So you got her with this fake ass Jamaican
dude.
patois.
Yeah, man.
Let me tell you.
Did you even know Wagwan?
Not even that.
Wagwan?
It wasn't even Yaman.
Really?
It wasn't that. No English.
Oh.
She would talk, he would translate, and I would smile.
Oh, okay.
And then,
wow.
one time I went to go visit her, bro, and she was talking to me, and I just smile, just oh God.
Yeah. So you didn't even know the greetings, the Wagwan,
dude,
and
no sac passe, none of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know none of that. None of that. Now, you know, I know a few languages, but no, I didn't know none of that, bro. That was back in the day.
So once you took your acting classes, what was the moment that you knew that, or the role that you got that you was like, okay, I'm gonna do this professionally. I'm gonna really.
Okay, we were at DVC. My boy Gary Wayne Banks and I were taking acting classes, and we had a teacher, and his name was Lesler Abbott. I think that's right. Lesler Abbott. He had a big beard and these glasses and this fuzzy hair. Right. And one day he came to class and he had shaved his beard. And on Everything I Love, he looked like Gene Wilder. just like Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder
like he could have been the splitting image of Gene Wilder. And
Gene Wilder did Arthur?
He did. Did you ever see that movie with Richard Pryor?
Oh yeah, yeah.
On the train.
See no evil, hear no evil.
No, the one day was on the train and he put on blackface
Stir
and he gave the little stir crazy. He gave the little Jamaican hat.
Yeah.
And he walked out talking about that's
Willy
right.
Wonka?
Yep.
Yeah.
They walked into the prison. That's right. We bad. You remember? Oh, that was the funniest shit, Richard Pryor. Anyway, so yeah, I did that. We were taking acting classes, and then I left. I went back home, and I went to that college that I didn't want to go to because I got serious about it, and I couldn't do it out there because I had to get a job and all that. So I moved back home with my mom. You know, and I was carrying 28 units or something like that. And then, I transferred and then I was still trying to do these pre-med courses and then, do theater at the same time. So I had something like 38 or 40 units or something. And I was at school from like 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the morning every day.
Wow.
Because I would go to regular school and then in the evenings I did all theater, just all theater, right?
Wow.
And I was there and I literally fell in love with it. Like if I couldn't act on stage, I was building sets. You know what I mean?
So you just love being
welding.
around it.
Oh man, vacuum forming, wood, stage construction, hanging lights, laying floors, cleaning Berkeys, like building like that truss up there. I would have welded that together. It wouldn't be connected with those C clamps. I would have welded that together. No, I'm telling
let me
you.
put you on.
No, seriously. Is that aluminum or is that?
It's aluminum.
That's aluminum, yeah. And I would have did it too, TIG welding.
Yeah, I'll call you because we got to change this.
Oh, really? You got to put it together? Oh, seriously, bro, because I did TIG, MIG, acetylene, and arc welding, right?
Wow.
Certified in 118 acetylene welding, not acetylene, 118 arc welding. And then there was the other one, the inert gas, metal inert gas. MIG, but it was the big wire. So I certified in that.
So you're a tradesman.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Like, seriously. Like, you know what I mean?
So are you a method actor or was it the Meisner technique or how did you cultivate your skill?
Stanislavski, I took lessons. But see, here's the thing. God, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I used to lie a lot.
We knew from the Jamaican story.
I used to lie a lot, and not just that kind of lie. Like we didn't have, like I said, projects, no money. We outside one day. My boy Dollar Bill Hill, God rest his soul. He had an affluent family that lived down the block. We was living in my mama's sister's house. She was still doing nursing, but we was living in my mama's sister's house. So we still didn't really have no money. My dad was around a little bit back then too. But Dollar Bill Hill was the only dude around who had a real leather jacket. This is how broke we was. I'm telling you now. He's the only cat at like 12, 11, 13 that had a real leather jacket. Right? I wanted to have a jacket. So I was like, I got a jacket. And he was like, man, you ain't got no clothes. I was like, I got a jacket. So then I had to go home and find the jacket in my closet. And I went in my mama's closet and she had this fake black and brown fur coat. And I went in the closet and I got that fur coat and I brought it outside on my shoulder like it was my fur coat. And that was one lie I told. I remember I took it all the way to the end.
What is
like,
this, velvet?
I think that's what the acting thing was. You know what I mean? Like I didn't give up. Like I was not giving up. You feel me? Like, no, bro.
So you was looking like Lenny from Good Times. My name is Lenny. Buy this with a penny.
And seriously though, and then I remember one time I told my friends that I got caught in the whirlpool. Look, don't ask me how I made these stories up.
So that lended to you being would you consider actors to be great liars?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
So the better the actor, the better the liar.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. So you had to...
I can look you in your eye like I'm looking you in your eye right now and tell you, no, man, I'm 26.
And commit to that shit. and make
Yeah,
me
no,
believe.
I got
Horrible.
but my family had alopecia, and so seborrhea and psoriasis. That's why you see these lines on my face. You feel me? But I'm really 26.
Okay. And
Like
sell
that.
that.
Just right there on
Yeah.
top, just right there,
Yeah.
just bam, just in your
Right.
face.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now I have
So
a
you
que-
had that gift intrinsically. Go ahead.
Oh no, I have a question because for theater versus acting on film, do you
Mhm.
feel like you really got to cultivate that in theater because there's no takes?
Anyway, that's where I started. Not film. I
Mm.
started on stage.
Yeah.
Crazy on
Mhm.
stage. Behind the stage. Okay, let me tell you this little story. I walk into the back of a shop. Big, 20-foot door, 12 feet wide, back of a college theater. Big, roll-up door. I go in there and I'm looking around and I see the dude and I go, I want to audition for the play. And that all the roles are filled, but if you want to help out, you can help out in here. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. And the technical director, John Morocco, says to me, what do you know how to do? And I said, I know how to weld because I had gone to trade school and learned certified in welding. And his mouth fell open. You do? I was like, yeah. And he was like, I need a set built. And he pointed me to 1.5-inch steel pipe. And it was the whole set. 4 18-foot tall towers made out of 1.5-inch pipe, 4 feet around. They were put on these caster jacks. One side was the Emerald City, one side was the forest, one side was blank, and then one side was where the Wiz was. You know what I'm saying? So we had to jack these up and spin them around, and that's how we changed the set. I built all 4 of the towers.
Wow.
Right? Behind the scenes. I'm up on one of the towers one day. I'm up there. What was I singing? Oh, there I go, there I go, there I go, there I go. Right? I'm up there doing some Bobby McFerrin. Is that it?
You can hold a little tune. I see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm up there doing that, and I'm up on the tower, and I'm acetylene welding chain link fence to 1.5-inch pipe. Right? First I welded the pipes together, then I had to put this chain link fence around it. So I'm up there singing, and this dude comes running out the theater. You, I hate you, you mother, out through the shop, out the back door, gone. The director, June Richards, come running after him. Darnell, and he ran out, left, bam. So she walking back through, and I'm up there, and there I go, and she stopped, and she looked up, and she said, hey. I was like, yeah. She's like, can you act? And I told her, I took some acting classes at DVC. She was like, come down here. I went down there. She's like, here, read this. And she gave me the part of the Wiz.
Wow.
And I read it. And she said, no, read it like a preacher. And I grew up in the church. So I read it like a preacher. You got the part as the Wiz. Hell yeah, right?
Yeah.
I was backstage building the set. Now I'm the Wiz. I'm happy as hell. I'm building. I'm rehearsing at night. I'm building. I'm going to school. I'm coming, rehearsing, building, right? Got everything going on. A week later, that motherfucker came back.
Damn.
Darnell?
Yeah.
He
He came back.
I know, right?
Darnell, right?
Darnell.
Yeah, he came back. She gave him the part back, and I ended up being one of the Emerald City people and one of the monkeys.
Oh.
Stop playing. So, my facial shape, kind of
Yeah.
like Eddie Murphy's shape. We got the same facial shape. I'm not saying I look like Eddie, but we the same shape, right? So we had these orange wigs. Remember when he did Velvet Jones on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
I was Velvet Jones in a psychedelic suit with an orange wig on, playing an Emerald City person. And and acting. So that's what I did, right? And that's how it all started. I was there and I did that. And that was my first gig. And then right after that, I went and auditioned for a play at the local community center, East Bay Center for Performing Arts. And that's where I got all my chops. Little stage, about as big as this little piece right here. 40 seats and a stage, little black box theater. OG Blackston, that was my dog. He was the technical director, caterer. He was everybody there. And we did No Place to Be. No, we did what did we do? We did that damn play. It was a play about some dudes in prison. Short Eyes. We did Short Eyes, and I played the old black dude. And then we did, like after he saw me do that, he came. No, what happened was we did Raisin in the Sun, and I played Willie, the dude who come in the house that not Willie. I played whatever the character was. So it was the lead dude, and I was the dude that came to tell him that Willie took our money and left. Right? You know, Raisin in the Sun, you know the play?
Yep.
So I played the dude, Bobo. That was the character. Bobo comes to tell the lead dude that the money's gone. Come to tell Sidney Poitier that the money's gone. And that was the part I played. And we did that. Then we did Guys and Dolls. And I played Benny South Street. Spider John working out in the rain, the musical, right? Now I'm doing backflips off the...
Wow.
But the closing, the first act closed with me doing a backflip and us singing Guys and Dolls. Just a guy, you know, for a gal, doll. We did the high A, all that bullshit. And then we did that. Then we went back over there and did that play. And then we did another play. And then he wanted me to do this other play. And then he wanted to do this thing called Hunter, where I played this quadriplegic kid. Couldn't talk, couldn't see, couldn't hear, could only feel vibrations.
Kind of like the Jamaican.
Yeah, the Jamaican, yeah. And my mom had a boyfriend, right? And so the whole play was about this little kid named Hunter, 19 years old, and all that, right? Crazy story. We do that play, and we finish, and we're coming out, and I walk out the back, and this lady's there, and she sees me, and she like gets weak in the knees, and she starts crying, and I'm kind of going, you know, what's wrong with her? Like, and she looking at me like, you know, and I was like, what's wrong with you? And then I found out she was a quadriplegic counselor.
Oh, wow.
Or something like that. She thought I was really afflicted.
Wow. So you did that good of a job.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
She thought I was really afflicted. The next Saturday or Sunday or whatever, she came back with like 20 kids in wheelchairs. Like, you know, them ones. Right? And brought them all to see the play. You know, right?
Wow. So I'm sure, go ahead.
The reason I came to Hollywood, though, is because my hero told me I was a good actor. My brother. So he was my dog. He taught me everything. We grew up, you know, the whole dad, mom fighting and all that. We would go sit in the car and chill and talk. To this day, he's still my best friend in the whole world, bar none.
That's beautiful.
My brother, yeah. So I used to... Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
I used to think I was a badass, right? So I'm doing this community theater with these people, and I'm telling them, man, y'all crazy. By the time I'm your age, because they was 30, I think I was like 22, 23. By the time I'm y'all age, you know, I'm going to be in Hollywood doing my thing, right? I didn't know. But we did that play, and then my brother came to see me. And he said to me, he said, man, what you doing? I was like, what? He's like, what you doing? I'm like, what you mean? He said, you should be doing this professionally. Right? 2 weeks later, I packed up my car and drove to Hollywood. True story.
Wow.
Yeah, because my homie, you still owe me money, bro, if you see this. But yeah, he told me I should be in Hollywood acting as, you know, professionally. And I did. I packed my shit up and left.
Wow.
That's
So
the only reason I left. Because I would have still been doing community theater and whatever. But yeah, so my brother told me that. That's weird that choked me up. I think I need to talk to him.
Is your brother still, he's still a...
Yeah. I told you, I just said that again. He owed me money.
Your brother owe you money. Okay.
Yeah, he owed me money. He owed me money, man.
How far apart are y'all?
Not owe me money. He said he was going to give me some money. Yeah. And I'm still waiting on that money. He don't owe me money. 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you said you was the only child.
I'm only child.
See, you didn't. So here's what happened with me. Quick, I'll make this quick because I know you got other shit to do. But he was the brother that, you know, because he was better than everybody I ever saw in my life do anything I ever seen anybody do in my life. We used to have fights, right? I mean, not fights, but we used to play chess. You ever play chess? Okay, so we used to play chess, right? You and your friends played chess. No hitting in the face.
Yeah, that's right.
But you could go to the
you
body
mean
as
chest.
hard.
Oh, yeah.
You could go to the body as hard as you want it,
Yes,
right?
that's
Like,
right. That's
really.
right. I
You
did
could-
that.
Yeah,
I
right?
was like, yeah, you did.
You could go to the body as hard as you
That's
want
right.
it.
That's
And
right.
I used to watch him beat up, like, he was probably
Mhm.
about 175 pounds. I used to watch him beat up 250-pound linebackers, 280-pound linemen. My brother used to beat these fools to death. And then he would play chess with me, and I thought I was good, and he would obviously knock me out or whatever. But the thing was, he would always want to do it with me.
Yeah.
And then he was the fastest tailback in the league, high school tailback in the league before he broke his ankle. He was the baddest tailback in the world. He played baseball. He was the baddest guard. You know what I'm saying? So my job was to keep up with him my whole life.
Yeah.
Right? And I did. Everything he did, I did. And I mean that. Everything he did, I did. If he was out playing strikeout with his partners, I was right there. And you know what? They couldn't strike me out. That was the thing. And anytime we played football, street football, first person he would pick was me.
Yeah.
Because he knew if he threw me the ball, I was going to catch it.
Yeah.
I don't care if I had to dive between some cars and hit my head on the curb. If he threw me the ball, I was going to catch it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was our relationship. I think that's why it kind of choked me up.
And I was finna ask you, why do you think that emotion overwhelmed you in that moment? I
don't know, because like, I think back on it, and of all the things in my life, major decisions I ever made in my life, it was always me and him making them. When I tell you, think about these moments. Your mom and dad get in a fight. You 12, he's 16. All he want to do is go in there and beat my dad ass. You know what I mean? He just want to go in there and fight. I don't understand the whole thing. And we can't do nothing about it. So we got to go sit out in the car and decide what it is. And it's just me and him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just me and him. Two boys sitting in the car. I was probably crying or something, every time it happened, but he would just be there like, no, man, we got to do this. And we got to do that.
together.
You know what I mean? Like, that was my dude. Like, it's still my dude. Like, to this day, I still, like, we get on the phone and we can't even sit down and have a conversation unless it's dead ass serious. Like, if I called him right now, we'd end up talking about Beirut or, you know what I'm saying? The war or politics or religion. We'd end up talking about something because that's how he and I communicate.
Wow.
We never communicate on no weather, what's up, let's go have a beer, bull.
Yeah.
Never. It ain't never like that. It's always what it is. Whatever's going on in our lives at the moment, whatever's troubling us the most at the moment, that's what we talk about. There's no filter. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that was the man I cried in front of.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And that man cried in front of me. You know what I mean? We got to be the vulnerable.
Exactly. Safe place for each other.
We got to recognize our feminine side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Between he and I. And I think that made us.
Do you think crying is feminine?
Growing up in the 60s, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I think that was a feminine thing. Oh, hell yeah. Well, men don't cry.
But now that you're older, you know that's
no,
not
I know
correct.
it's not true.
I
know. No, I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, growing up.
No, I get it.
And
so let me ask you this.
Go.
And it's funny that you said that. So coming from the hood, you're taught and you're trained to suppress emotions and not show emotions.
Yeah.
Did you struggle with that once you started? Because being a good actor, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be completely and totally transparent.
And now you ask me why I became an actor. So I could do and be whoever I wanted to be.
Right.
However I wanted to be it. My very first role was Bobo. Bobo walked in the house and had to be the guy to tell the other guy that investment we made, the dude I hooked you up with, the dude I told you was real, that we should give our money to, ran off with our money. Walter Lee, that was his character. Walter Lee was the lead. I was Bobo. I was the dude. And then Willie, this fictitious dude that nobody ever saw, ran off with his mama's inheritance. Like, because that was mama's money that Walter took. And then, so then he had to tell, it's gone, mama, the money. What you mean it's gone? It's gone. So-and-so ran off. So I had to cry in that very first part. I never forget it. Auditioned for that role, and I went up every time. Yeah. And anyways, yeah.
So let me ask you that. So crying, right? And you coming from the generation you came to and acknowledging that you seen it as feminine, something you couldn't do. what place did you go to, once you got grown and started acting that enabled you to pull that emotion out?
Wow.
Did you catalog your emotions from something, or were you in the moment with that?
Dude, you know what's crazy? Just like I had that moment just now.
Mm-hmm.
I can have it again. That was fake. I'm saying it was fake. So
that
you
boy
asked
good.
me if you asked me if I could catalog it. But the thing is it's muscle memory now.
Oh.
You know what I know?
Mm-hmm.
I think everything is muscle memory. People like to recall, or sense memory is what they call it, something in their past that was, traumatizing to them. The dog died, or the mother got hit by a car, and things like that. You know what I know? When people cry, certain parts of their body get tight. They can't breathe. If you don't breathe, you become syllogistical. One thing leads to the next thing. You know what I mean? If you breathe, you become intuitive. You know what I'm saying? So as humans, we walk around in a syllogistical state of mind all the time, right? Because we're not using our full capacity of oxygen that we should be using. So half the time we walking around sleep. As I take a deep breath. So acting wise, I know that if I need to find an emotion, if it's something that's supposed to be traumatizing, or if it's supposed to be, because excitement and fear is, I think, basically the same thing, depending on the situation you're in. Like if you get on a roller coaster and you hit that, you know what I mean? Or if you riding around and something's coming, it's or if you win $1 million or get paid $500,000, it's that same excitement. And it's the same across the board, except the situation determines how you react to it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So for me, acting is that. I don't have to catalog. I don't have to, it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's in my It's in my DNA, man. I really do believe it's in my DNA.
I mean, that was impressive.
Yeah.
Because I believed
I
you.
know. I just
When you did it, I was like, oh, I didn't mean to trigger him. Like,
Again,
you
right?
know what I mean?
So, but yeah, so and it's the same with elation.
Mhm.
If you ever want to get happy about something,
Mhm.
think about something happy,
Mhm.
but don't smile.
Mm.
And I guarantee you it'll feel better if you smile. It don't feel as
Right.
good, but if you
Right.
think about it and you try not to smile, it'll go through you.
Yeah.
If you pull that memory, or if you get that muscle reflex and you try not to cry, the tears will come. You know what I mean?
You know, I did a movie in last October, and I had to do a scene where I had to cry. And I remember before 20 years ago, I didn't have it in me. I couldn't
Right.
do that. Right?
Right.
I couldn't be that vulnerable. What I did was, so before we started shooting, I know what'll take me there. And you probably know too what'll take me there. And so I started thinking about my mom before I was going on camera. And I knew that was going to open it up, you know what I mean? Because my mother passed away in 2010.
Oh,
And so
sorry to hear that.
when we sat down, right, and I started to think about it, because I cataloged that emotion, all that came out. But when they said cut, I couldn't stop.
Right.
I couldn't stop.
Right.
And so the dude that was next to me, he played my lawyer in the scene, and he just started rubbing me on the back. And he was like, I know where you went with that. He said, I know what that is.
Right.
You know, and it was like, I just couldn't stop. And I was like, I got to get a hold on that. I have to figure out how to do that some other type of way.
Wow. Breathing helps. Breathing helps. And you want people cry?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
You can let it go.
Right.
They cry because that hey, even when you're a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Some kids just, it was a long, I never breathe.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
I mean, acting class 101. And then, for me, acting is also, you talk about Stanislavski. Okay, yeah, that's a method. I won't go run a marathon to be tired. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I made Run in Place a few. We were doing colors one time, and
I was finna go to colors.
Huh?
I was finna go to colors.
You were?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
we
gonna
were
let you
doing
go
colors,
there. Go
and
ahead.
I had a scene where I got beat up in jail, and
Yep.
and I had to, I had to be messed up, and
Yeah.
they put all this makeup on my face, and
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't working for Dennis. He was the director, Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. Yeah.
And he comes up to me and he goes, "Come on, Glenn, man, what you gonna do?" I was like, "What you mean?" He said, so how you gonna get this? Like, you need to stand up and spin around in a circle 50 times? Like, I was like, yeah, that might work. I don't know why I said that, because he walked back over to the camera and said, "Okay, everybody shut up. Glenn gonna spin around in a circle 50 times. And when he sit down in that chair, that's action."
Yeah. Wow.
Right? So I did it.
Uh-huh.
Spun around, dude. And I
Really?
sat down, and I was going, woo! And what's his name? He started asking me
The
questions.
sheriff.
He started asking me questions, and I was sitting there like this, trying to answer.
Yeah, you was, because you was like, "I don't know what you know."
Yeah.
He was like, "Tell him about Sugar the Bear."
Yeah, give me some of that good juicy. And I was like,
give me
dude,
some of that good
if you
juicy.
knew right now, you were whirling around in a circle.
Oh wow, that's how
Six
you pulled that
girls.
scene
Yeah,
off. That's crazy.
so some method, whatever. That was early on. That was like the third movie I did.
Yeah.
What
What are some of your memorable stories from filming Colors? Because I think that's when I got introduced to you as an actor as well.
I there's a lot of memorable stories from that, and this is a podcast, and I always get caught telling this story, and I want to make it clear first and foremost that Sean Penn is probably one of the quintessential actors in this business.
That's right.
But I did a movie with the dude, and he was on some other whatever, and we got into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a memory for me. He we
I
got
was gonna
into
say that fight scene, that looked almost real.
But you know
in that
what?
fight scene.
It wasn't though. The thing is that okay, so we did a scene in the alleyway.
Mm-hmm.
I had to run.
Yep.
He wanted it to look real. And I told them, I said, "Man, you got me in jeans and some tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude is wearing a police uniform with a police belt, a gun,
Right.
walkie-talkie, bulletproof vest, boots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I take off running down that alley and he got to get out the car,
Yeah, you're not gonna catch me. Yeah.
I'm going to be gone before before the door closed.
Mhm.
I'm going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
He going to open the door and I'm going to be down the block.
Right.
And they didn't believe me. So they said, "Oh, let's just do it and see what happened." And so the first one, he opened the door. He took 2 steps and I was over the fence that I was supposed to be, that was like 40 yards down there. Because
Right.
I had on some tennis shoes. I was 25 years old. I probably ran
you
a
had on
4.540 at the
outfit or
time.
something. Yeah.
Huh?
You had on Adidas outfit or something. Like
Yeah,
that?
sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, seriously, I fucking ran a 4.540 when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're not catching me.
Yeah.
Even if you had on some track shoes, you're not catching
You're not
me.
catching me. Yeah.
You would have to be somebody that was,
Yeah.
that
was
seriously
doing it.
athletic. You're
Yeah.
not going to catch me.
Right.
I'll run, cut, and catch a football and still outrun you. Or I will let you stand right here and hold my arm,
Yeah.
yank away from you, and you're not going to catch me.
Right.
You're not going to catch me getting. So anyway, we did it, and he got frustrated. So finally, we decided that, like 6 feet from the fence, I would jump and land on the fence as opposed to hitting the fence and flipping over like we did when we was kids.
Right.
You know how we used to jump fences.
Exactly. For sure.
Zoom. It didn't stop nothing. You just hit the fence and went over it, right? So I jumped on the fence, landed on it, and then he ran up and caught me, and then he slammed my head down on the car. And one of them times he got a little excited, and he, instead of him slamming me down once, he slammed me down twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't ready for it because I had my hands behind my head, and he pushed my face into the hood of a car.
Wow.
Boom! And so we had words, and I told him, "I'm gonna f you up, man." And then he was like, "I don't feel pain," and we went through this whole thing, and so we had this little tiff we had a scene in the kitchen where we had to fight.
Yep.
And I was supposed to hit him with this frying pan, but they cut that part, and they only let me knock the gun out of his hand with the frying pan because that little thing we had, it was kind of touchy.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm an actor.
Right.
You don't get to abuse me, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he was like, whatever, we'll see. And I was like, okay. There's a scene where I hit you with a frying pan. We're gonna see how that work. You know what I'm saying? No, seriously, we did. It was kind of touchy. And so then when it came time to do it, they took it out, and I only knocked the gun out his hand with the frying pan, and then we did a whole thing. But then the choreographer came, and he told me something about, he switched the choreography. And I was like, okay, well, make sure you tell Sean, because, at that point, it was later on in the movie, and, I'm going to get you, I don't feel pain. I'm going to get you, I don't feel pain. Method. He was real method. Sean, he's a great actor, but method. And so, we going back and forth, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But by that time, it wasn't, anything serious. I wasn't finna do nothing to this dude.
What do you think that energy from him was coming from?
I think because he's method.
Okay.
Okay. You want to talk about method? That's a method actor.
Okay. Did you guys, after everything wrapped, did y'all ever get a chance to run into each other and like laugh about it?
We had a little party. We went, kind of hung out a little bit at this place called On the Rocks once. I think his dad might have been there that day. I know Harry Dean Stanton might have been there that day. We was up there having a little. Yeah. It was only a few people up there. It's kind of, the Roxy?
Yep.
Okay, so next to the Roxy, there's a door.
Yep.
And you can go upstairs. Okay. There's a bar up there. A lot of people don't know about it, but there's a bar up there. A couple little private hideaway rooms where you got to crawl behind it. Like hidden rooms. You open a thing, you got to crawl in, and it's got lounged out. You got to be down here because the roof right there. Yeah. And seriously, you lounging in that motherfucker. It's cool. Whatever. I used to party a lot when I was in Hollywood. But I guess it's not hidden anymore. I just told the world. Yeah. But that shit was there. So we was up there and we danced and had fun, and it was cool, and he invited me to a reading he had one time. And I think Tom Cruise was there and some other people was there, so that was
Were you in the know of the LA gangs and the Bloods and Crips when you did that?
When I did Colors?
Yeah.
No.
So that was all new to you.
That was, I mean,
did you research? Did you do your research, or you just went with the script and you just pulled what you knew from the streets?
Yeah, well, see, because, okay, so back up. How I got the job, that was a whole thing in itself. I met a guy who wrote the script. Michael Schiffer wrote Colors. He was at an agency party, and I was at the agency party, and I had my friend Jeff with me, and we were at the agency party. And he saw us, and he said, man, y'all look like y'all could be in my movie. Right? And we were like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah. Hollywood talk.
Hollywood, yeah.
Whatever. But then it came up. And it was like, oh, he wasn't bullshitting. They're auditioning for Colors. So my agents was like, they don't want any actors. That's what they said. We're not hiring any actors. We only want real gang members. So I was like, fuck that. Yeah. So, I went down there in my black leather blazer with my fucking creased 501s, like we used to dress in Richmond, right? Sewed in creases. Yeah. With Stacey Adams on, bro. You feel me? I went down there with my I went down there with the rich on them, right? And I walked in there and I was like, I want to audition for this thing. And so they let me audition. And I went in there and I auditioned for the role. And this is a true story. I auditioned for the part. And Sean Penn's in the room. Dennis Hopper's behind the desk. Sean's over there sitting in the chair backwards, and I do my thing, and then Dennis goes, he turns to Sean, what do you think, man? And Sean's like, yeah, that's cool, he's cool, that's cool, and he like that, right? And then, Dennis goes, yeah, man, you good, we like you. And then I was like, but I brought my friend with me. And they was like, what? I was like, I brought my friend with me. Where he at? I said, he's sitting out now. He's sitting out there. And they were like, go get him. So I went and got my boy Jeff Thorne, right? I brought him with me, right? We were living together at the time. And Jeff is, for lack of a better story, he published a book at 13 or 14. Okay. He wasn't no gang.
Right.
At all. Right. But he ended up playing the dude that Rocket took the car from. I don't know if you remember the movie. Rocket took his van.
Yes.
Right? Lewis. He ended up playing Lewis.
The starter coat on.
The starter jacket with the hat turned
and they was tricking him into talking about the chick.
Yeah. Him and Spanky. Yeah. Him and the little round dude he was with, his name was Spanky.
Yeah.
Anyway, So I went out there and I got him and I brought him in the room. And then they talked to him for a little bit and then went back and forth a little bit. And then they was like, well, I was like, man, if he ain't doing it, I ain't doing it.
Wow.
This is my third part ever had. Like, I had a couple auditions, but I'm sitting there telling Sean Penn and Dennis Hopper that if you ain't putting my friend in your movie, I'm not going to be in your movie.
Right.
And then Dennis went, what? I was like, come on, man. And then Dennis he looked at Sean, what do you think? He's like, yeah, man, we can do it. We can find something. And we didn't even know what parts we got. But they said, okay, y'all going to be in the movie. Right? And we leave. And then Lauren Lloyd calls my agent. She was the casting director at the time. She calls my agent. And she says, Glenn, is there anybody else, you think you could, that would be right for this movie? And I was with Writers and Artists at the time. And my boy Bruce Beatty was with Writers and Artists. And then my boy Don Cheadle was with another agency. And I told her, I said, call this agency, ask for Don Cheadle, right? And then I sent Bruce down there, and they got Don, and Don got the role of Rocket. And Bruce played the other dude out in the 13th Street gang. He was the other black dude besides Graham Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes, yeah. So it was Bruce and Don, Jeff, and I. Don, Bruce, and Jeff all went to Cal Arts. Right? They graduated together. And see, now I'm backing up because when I first came to LA, I told you I got my car and I drove down here, right? I worked at Cal Arts. I was the shop tech. I ran the Wonder Shop. I had a job. I was making like $35,000 a year in 1985.
Wow.
Don, Bruce, and Jeff I signed all their work study papers so they could get their grant money. They had to come into the shop, to work, do stage construction and all that to get I forgot what it was called, but I used to do the same thing when I was in college. And then when they left and went off into the world, I left and went with them. When I saw those kids on TV, I just remember going, wow, that's what they think little thug kids are. Man, I could show them what a real little thug kid is.
Right.
I remember having that thought. But back then, I don't ever remember wanting to become an actor.
Yeah.
But I tell you what I did do as a child sometimes, and I don't know why, sometimes, all the damn time, I would sneak and stay up till the television went off. And I don't know, y'all don't even know what that is. You ever stay up till the television went off?
Because the channels used to go, or go to static.
Yeah,
or go to static.
Right?
Yeah.
But then they had the national anthem and the flag.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Right? And then you would see that
Yeah.
dial.
Yeah.
And then it would go to static. And I used to do that. They used to have Movies Till Dawn on Channel 5 in my hometown. Movies Till Dawn. And I would stay up and watch Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and Gene Kelly and all those musicals, Singing in the Rain, all that. Marilyn Monroe, all
Turner
of
classics.
Man,
Yeah.
I was Turner classics.
Yep.
Jerry Lewis, one of my favorite movies in the whole world, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, back then was that movie that Jerry Lewis did when the vacuum cleaners came alive and was chasing him around.
I don't remember that.
I don't know. Nobody remember that movie, dude. But I'm telling you, that there was a movie. Jerry Lewis did this movie, and I think they were aliens, or he was an alien. Somebody was an alien. These vacuum cleaners was chasing people around. And one of my favorite movies in the whole world. Jerry Lewis was one of my favorite actors in the whole world back then. Just him and then, of course, Abbott and Costello and fuck, man, the Three Stooges, and just no, serious, Little Rascals. Like that's when I grew up.
I want to ask you this. So once let's fast forward to South Central. Yeah, South Central. Very, very, culturally impactful role with OG Bobby Johnson. And to this day, you are referred to as OG Bobby Johnson. I was curious. Did you pull from anybody for that character? And was it Tookie Williams? Because it reminded me of Tookie Williams.
No, man.
Where did you get the motivation for that character?
I told you I grew up in the hood, man. And when I tell you I grew up in the hood, I really did grow up in the hood. My cousin, Anthony, first cousin, my mother's sister's son, went to prison, for murder, man. 17 years old. He got out and became a preacher.
Right.
Like,
Did you know when you were doing South Central that it was going to have the impact that it had? Did you knew that, okay, we have something special here?
Yes. I didn't know it was going to have the impact, but I knew it was a story that I wanted to tell. Growing up, the one thing I always wanted to have, and I told you that moment when my dad came and got me out of juvenile hall, right? It was a fond memory of mine because that was a moment when my dad showed up. He wasn't always there. My dad never played baseball with me. He never taught me how to shoot a basketball. He never taught me how to run a football. You know what I mean? He never taught me how to act. When I went to elementary school, kindergarten, I filled out the paperwork to get into the school. The only thing I didn't do was fill out the insurance forms because my mother had that information. But the application to get into school and all that shit, I filled it out myself because my sister, who's 2 years older than my brother, made sure I was the smartest person in the room. Wherever I went, add, subtract, multiplication, divide, all that before I ever set foot in a school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like read, all that. 3rd grade, I was taking speed reading after school. When all the rest of the kids went home, I had a class, I was taking speed reading.
Wow.
Like literally, my sister made sure. She was like, no, you going. And my brother, like I told you, he was the coldest cat in everything. And that was my role model. And my sister on the intellectual side, that was my role model. Like she was the smartest person I knew. And he was the most athletic, like whatever. I don't remember his grades or anything like that, but my sister was a fucking genius.
Yeah.
And she made sure I knew everything I needed to know. And I mean, everything. There was nothing my sister didn't teach me. Nothing my brother didn't teach me. And that was because my mom worked swing shift.
Right.
We would get up and go to school in the morning, but we couldn't wake her up because she had just got off work at 12 midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. She went to work from 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she worked till, 11:30 at night. And she wouldn't get home till 12, and she needed to sleep, so we couldn't wake her up. I had to learn how to cook my own breakfast. I still have a scar on my stomach right here from standing up on a chair, making eggs when I was 8 years old. Scrambling eggs. I was 8 years old, scrambling my own eggs, and the cast iron skillet was hot and it poked me in the stomach. So yeah, why did I talk about that
So
now?
you was talking about South Central.
South Central.
Yeah.
And my dad. And so my dad wasn't always around. He wasn't always around. When I made that movie with the purpose of telling Black men that they needed to go get their kids out the gangs and teach them how to be men, right? Did it on purpose because of my father not always being around. You know what I mean? I wanted that. But it wasn't necessarily gangs, though. And I think that's the thing that threw me was it wasn't really gangs. It was just father-son for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
For me, it was father-son. The gang thing just happened to be the backdrop they used
Exactly
to tell that story.
Right.
So when I made that movie, that's why I made it. And I remembered after we made the movie and after it did what it did, I told myself, never again will I say to God, it doesn't matter if I make money. It doesn't matter, whatever happens. I just want this movie to reach everybody. And so God did that for me.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Yeah, it didn't do nothing in the theater. I didn't get paid because it's low budget. I mean, I made some money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever it was. But the movie had the impact that
Exactly.
I asked God to allow it to happen.
Yeah, you achieved a bigger purpose.
And so, yeah, man, for that reason, I did do it for that reason. And two, here's another story. A lot of people don't know this. Byron Menz, the guy who played Ray Ray in the movie, he was a bringer of truth, I should say, and so was I. So at the end of the movie, my character was supposed to shoot him and take my son and leave. And my thing was, I wasn't going to be a part of black on black crime at the end of any movie that I was starring in. Wasn't going to have that happen. And then another thing, was the whole light skin thing. They wanted to give me a wife that, right? And I said, no, we're not doing that. I want a chocolate sister to play my wife in this movie. I'm serious. This is all shit that we had to go back of, me and the director or whatever, We had to say, but anyway, so Byron was like, no, man, we do this movie, I'm not just gonna put the gun down, you know what I'm saying? We gotta work something out. We gotta do something, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just wasn't gonna give it up.
Yeah.
And if you don't shoot me, how you gonna get the gun out of my hand? Like, that type.
Right.
So days went, just go in the room, me and him, and just improv, do whatever we could do, just trying to figure out how to get this scene.
Right.
And we had to find it, and we couldn't find it. And then one day we were doing something, and I just said, you know what? Fuck it, man. Let's just go do it.
Yeah, and see what happens.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
And we did it. And everything I did at that moment was not me. It's just, I opened up as a vessel, and it all just poured in and poured out. Not the dialogue, but the delivery.
Yeah.
Just shoo, shoo,
wow.
Shoo, shoo. And I just remember sitting there and doing it. And I wasn't there. It was happening. And I remember the little kid started crying.
Yep. Yep.
And Byron started crying. And the dude that was behind me started crying. And I looked around, and the cameraman was crying, and the AD was crying, and the costume was crying, and the director was crying. And everybody lost it, But it wasn't me. I couldn't take credit for it. You feel me? Like, I couldn't take credit for it.
It's a powerful scene.
Yeah.
Dude, but it's like, and I tell people that all the time. So when people come up to me and be like, man, that scene, man, all I do is go, yeah, you know you a bad motherfucker. You know what I mean?
I used to watch it so much.
I don't mean to like curse when I reference, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I just got.
So those weren't even conscious choices you were making as an actor.
I honestly have to give it up. I have to give it up because I just let go and let God, and it happened. And the mother put the gun down, and the kid, if you would have seen the video, because they shot it on video, right? They shot it, but it was on video. The kid went like this. He yanked his hand away from that gun. He was like, "Oh, like what's going on?" Like, he didn't know what to expect. He was like, And then Byron was like, "Whoa, okay, you went there, okay,
So that was real.
Yeah,
take him, that type of thing.
It was so many great levels with that, because it was like you were fighting with yourself, but still trying to atone and still trying to turn that corner, And then finally you let the new you come through when you got down and kind of just pleaded with him. You know what I mean?
I did too. And see, and that was the thing. And that was the thing nobody saw. Nobody saw that. Because I really did plead with him. In the movie, I'm gonna blow your fucking head off. Right? Yeah. And then I'm looking at the kid, and I look at him, and then I put the gun down. And then I go, Jimmy. It's funny to me now. Because I go, Jimmy, if you do this, and if you do that. And when we did it, right? When we did it, and I looked at him, and I looked at the kid, and I put the gun down, and I looked him in his eyes, and he cocked the trigger, and I said, "You wait a minute, motherfucker." That's what I said to him. You wait a minute. You motherfucker, you wait a minute. And it still brings tears to my eyes. Because it was there. I told him, you wait a minute, you motherfucker, you wait a minute. And let me talk to my fucking son. Y'all didn't see that. You know, and that's how it all.
Did that come from?
No, dude, that was the thing.
But I'm saying, but subconsciously, was that kind of the remnants of your dad and y'all's relationship, kind of feeding off of that?
I don't know.
You wanting your dad to come get you like that.
I just remember locking in with him and having to make sure he didn't shoot me in my face before I talked to my son. That's all that moment was about.
Got you.
And that's how it all came through. And I remember it just went choo, choo, and it came, and I settled it, and then I addressed my kid. Y'all didn't get that part.
Right.
All y'all got was the
the
little moment with the son, right? And everybody was like, whoa, that was some badass. That was this. That was that. That was this. I was like, yeah, well, if you knew what I had to do to get to that moment.
Yeah. You know, I want to jump ahead a little bit because we're getting tight on time. But, I mean, it's impossible for us to go through your resume because, I mean, it's too thick. But I want to ask you this question. With the emergence of the fast channels, the streaming networks, Tubi, and now you have this really explosion of micro budget movies. Do you think that is a good thing because now you don't have to wait on Hollywood? Or do you think that it's a bad thing in terms of it cheapening to some degree the art form of filmmaking?
See, where I come from, I'm glad you brought that up because I wrestle with that a lot. We started making movies in the 70s, and somebody put the title Blaxploitation.
Yep.
That wasn't us. You feel me? We didn't put that title on those. And those movies had to be made a certain way because as soon as I think it was Melvin Van Peebles.
And you did Badass, by the way, but go ahead.
Mario Van Peebles.
Yep.
Yeah. So Melvin Van Peebles showed them that a movie could be made. Right?
Yep.
He made this movie and he showed them, we gonna make movies.
Right.
Whether y'all want us to or not. I think that's how it went.
Yep.
And then Hollywood started writing them. Because if you notice all the names of the writers on all those blaxploitation movies, you know, they were all written by certain people. And some of them, I don't know if some of them were written by black people. I know most of them.
I know Superfly, I believe was like Gordon, Gordon Parks, something.
Written by. But anyway, so long story short, that's why they became like they became. You know, they became that because they didn't have a budget, they didn't have any money, they had to be made at a certain time frame to make them. You know, no serious close-ups, just make the movies. And then Dolomite was making his movies, right? And all that shit was going on. So they weren't mastered properly. The post-production wasn't
that's right.
up to grade, just like now. All those streaming projects and all those things that are going on, the post-production, it's the same. You watch a Hollywood movie, you know the difference because you can hear it, right?
Yep.
You can hear it.
Yep.
If something sounds right? You can tell. Because sometimes if it sounds right, the television can flicker, can move a little bit, it can jiggle, and you'll still watch it if it sounds correct. If it doesn't, you won't pay it any mind, right? And that's the difference. You ask me if it cheapens, right? They don't have enough money to get in post-production and do what they need to do to make those movies sound like they should. And there's a little something for all you new directors and all you guys that are making these independent movies with little or no money. Always have enough money to make the movie right in post-production. You have to master the sound because if you don't, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be.
That's right.
And that's a real thing.
But I'll be honest with you. I mean, Rocket, it was convincing.
No, you can't take nothing away from Don. I wasn't trying to take.
No. I'm saying, but being like, that who he is and his experience is such a contrast of what he did.
He
So wait, you took the dance because you liked the girl. and then you just so happen to use it in Showgirls.
Dancing was something that I ended up doing because, like I said, I started on the stage. I'm in college, and we did like musicals.
Yeah.
The Wiz. We did, Guys and Dolls. We even made a thing called. We did a thing called. How the Children of the Ark got their feet wet. I don't know why that title was so long, but we all was in this restaurant, and I was the chef, and I was blind, no doubt. But we all had to sing and dance. So this college I went to, it was one of those things, man. You had to be a triple threat. You couldn't just, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't. You could, yeah, you could, and when we,
some talent.
I mean, when it came down to it, I had to figure out what this movie thing was about because I was a little big for the film industry when I got here, and I had to figure out what that was. And I tell you, key moment in my life, when I figured it out, or what helped me figure it out, was one day I had an audition. I was trying to audition to get into Cal Arts, even though I was working there. And I did a monologue from A Raisin in the Sun, Asagai, the African guy who was dating Benithia, the girl, the sister. And he has this moment in the play where they get into this thing about, the turmoils of the world and something, and she's going on, and she turns to me and she goes, and you can't answer it, Well, in the play, he blows up. I live the answer. In my village, it is the exceptional man who can even read a newspaper. What he says, the exceptional man who can read, or let alone gets a newspaper or something. He just blows up, right? This whole thing. And so that's how his monologue started. And that's how I would start that monologue. I live the answer. And I remember, they had this thing called leagues, and you go audition for all these different colleges. So leagues came up, and it was just a test of, like, you know what I mean? Are you good enough to get into school? I got into North Carolina. I got into New York University. Like, you know what I mean? I went and auditioned for these schools. I wasn't really trying to go to them, but we all went to leagues to audition. Not New York University, North Carolina, and I think Texas or something like that. Anyway, I got into a few acting schools, but I didn't get into Cal Arts. And I remember we were in a dorm room, small ass dorm rooms, and Don says to me, he says, wow, man, you go, so let me see what you did with it. Like, you want, do it for me. And me and him just sitting in a room, and he's like, let me see what you did with it. And I go, okay, what you want? You want the drama first, or you want the comedy? Because I think I did Falstaff from the Shakespeare. Would you had to it to better than your young dukedom? There's never none of these demure boys comes to any proof, right? Falstaff Part 2 from Henry Part 2, Falstaff. Anyway, so, and I started this monologue like, I live the answer. And he went, whoa. Like, dude, what the fuck was that? Yeah. And I said, no, that's how it starts. And he was like, what? That's how it starts. He was like, nah, man, don't do that. I was like, no. He was like, nah. He went, just say it. And I was like, what? He said, just say it. You don't have to yell and scream. Just say it. And I did at that moment. He said, just say it. And I went, I lived the answer. And it ran through me like it was an epiphany, right? Because trying to put all that emotion on it and trying to do all those things with it wasn't allowing me the knowledge of what that character was really saying. I was putting the emotion on it, I was putting all my shit on it.
But your ability to immerse yourself in feelings is so impressive to me, especially with you just saying, no, I'm just really, like you said, I'm embodying this character. I'm embodying the situation, the emotion, without pulling in external, forces or from yourself. You know what I mean?
Because everything you know is on a vibration. Everything around you is on a vibration. Everything, down to the smallest particle known to mankind, that we know of now, because they've been slamming what is it, matter. They've been slamming matter together, right? And what they found is there's a byproduct when you slam matter and antimatter into each other. They don't even know what the byproduct is. But the Big Bang was matter and antimatter slamming into each other. Now, was it huge matter and antimatter? Was it a little bit of matter and antimatter? Was it all matter and all antimatter slamming into each other? But whatever that byproduct was from that explosion, that's what we are. We're the vibratory effect from that explosion. And everything we know is on a vibration, right? So everything you do in front of a camera is on the vibratory sound that comes out of your mouth when you're in front of the camera.
That's why you need to be a coach.
Hey, you know what? We gotta cut it down, man. I wish we had another hour, bro. I wish we had another. We got started late. I wish we had another hour.
Shoot.
But man, you got to come back, OG, when you get some time. And you're open, man. We got to come back because there's so much it's so many other topics that I wanted to get to you, but I know it's impossible to wrap it up in an hour.
The thing is this, right? Here I am sitting here, and I always avoid it because I always say, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do no podcast. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. And then I sit down and I start talking about it, and it's like I absolutely love it, and I don't know why I don't do it, but I'm glad I don't. I'm glad I haven't exhausted myself.
Yeah, haven't overexposed yourself.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'd rather it be special.
Exactly.
I do teach and I do coach, but I'm the same way with teaching and coaching.
As you should be.
If I know where I'm coming for my next role, when I got some
seriously,
stuff coming.
If I meet somebody and if they want, you know what I mean, and I do it accordingly. Like I have a football player that plays for the 49ers that I coach. And I have friends that I coach that don't have no money. They come and give me like 25 books. No, seriously.
No, that's right.
Give me $25. And I take them through whatever process they need to go through. Yeah. You need an hour, you need an hour and a half, you need 2 hours. We're going to run it. We're going to do it. I'm going to tell you where it is. I'm going to tell you how to get there, how to get back. Right? And then I have people that literally pay me $300 an hour. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you got the money to pay for it, you're paying for it. But if you don't, I'm not trying to nobody. Right. I'm not trying to overprice nobody. Yeah. If you got $5 or if you can take me to lunch. Yeah. And that's how if that's what you got, then that's what you paying. You feel me? Like, that's what I do. You know, even acting wise, I go do low budget feature films. And,
Well, real quick, speaking of, we ain't gonna say low budget, but feature films, right? Yeah. You're a part of a film that I'm a producer on as well. Shout out to Damien. Yeah. The Block Trilogies.
Yeah.
The Block Trilogies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that one because I showed my ass in that thing.
You did. My favorite line from that movie, because by the time we show this, it will be out, when you said, I shot that till the gun got tired. I said, that's some gangster shit. I shot that till the gun got tired.
Man, I'm telling you, when Damien gave me that, I'm like, yo, we got to do this. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, bro, there are certain things that I'm passionate about.
No, it's a great movie, but we gotta wrap it up.
Okay.
OG. So man, we just wanted to give you flowers, brother.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can get you back, man. I know
we
got a late start.
This is what I want you to do.
Yes, sir.
I want you to put a part 1 on this interview.
Okay. We'll do.
Put part 1 on it.
Absolutely.
And then the next time we do it.
Yep. Absolutely. Sooner than later.
Do part 2.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
And I'm saying that because I'm guaranteeing you, next time I have some time, if you got some time.
Hell yes.
I'm going to come sit here.
Because I had so much other stuff that I wanted to deep dive into, but.
And we're going to talk about this again.
Yeah. So.
I like it. I got some I want to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess I could talk about it here.
Absolutely. You see, it's a safe place. So you see what this is. We don't do the BS and all of that. So I'm glad that we made you feel comfortable.
I like that. Holding court. Podcast. People keep telling me I should get a podcast, but I don't want to.
Yeah. If you do, I'll help you with it.
I don't want to do a podcast.
Nah,
man.
we gonna do it.
I would be in trouble.
Listen, OG Bobby Johnson podcast coming soon. We gonna do it. Hey, but I appreciate you, OG. We want to just give you your flowers, man. We appreciate what you contributed to the culture, both on the camera and off the camera.
I thank you,
Yes.
and I love it, and I will come back anytime you want me to come back.
Appreciate you.
Anytime you want me to come back.
Appreciate you. All right, well, that's Holdin Court Podcast, Big Court, Glenn Plummer, Rachel Renee. We are tapping out.
Part 1.
Yeah, part one.